Boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another Tutorial Tuesday. Today we are going over holes. No, but seriously, today we're going to be looking at a lot of different gimmick holes because I know that I promised that I would be teaching you how to make some gimmicks and I still haven't, but today is the day that's going to change that. This is going to be our first how-to gimmick build. I'm going to be showing you 7 different types of hole gimmick cards, including one that I personally came up with. Yeah. Make sure that after I show you all of them, but especially mine, let me know if you do like it, if you want me to keep trying to figure out how to make it into a better trick that I can teach you guys. But overall, make sure that you put down in the comments below which of these was your favorite and if you enjoyed these gimmick build tutorial video ideas, because I do want to know what you guys enjoy so I can keep making those. So make sure that you smash like and hit subscribe. Let's get straight into the first trick. Alrighty guys, so this first one is as you can see, some of these will have to do with black art, as you can see from me wearing a black t-shirt, but this first one is going to be pretty simple, and all that it is I would start off by showing you that I have a hole right here. You can see that it really is a hole, right? And any of you guys can see that. And so here's the cool thing though, if I actually take that hole and I just turn it over just like this, I can actually give it a snap, and you can see it fixes itself completely with no hole on either side. Alrighty, so this next one is kind of a similar idea, but a different method. As you can see, this is a completely normal just a card with a hole in it, but the crazy thing is that if I just give it a turn just like this, you can see once again that that has become a completely black sticker, and it looks good on both sides with it being completely fixed. Alrighty, so this next one has a little bit of a different method and different idea. Basically, you can take the pencil and you can really stab that through. You guys can see that. That goes completely through. And you can even see the actual hole itself, but this one's a little bit different, and I sure wish I could zoom in, but here's the crazy thing. We're gonna try and heal this slowly. Check this out. Look, if I just give it a rub just like this, I can actually just slowly heal that card before your very eyes, and you can see where there was a hole, there is no hole anymore whatsoever. Alrighty, so this one kind of has a similar idea. It's not as slow, but basically you can actually find that sweet spot and you can stab it straight through, right? But here's the crazy thing. As soon as I pull that thing out, you guys can actually see how fast this is. It's instantly fixed, right? And I can pull it out slowly and it will still be fixed. You see what I mean, right? And I can keep pushing it in and out and in and out, but it's always going to be fixed on both sides. Alrighty guys, now you may or may not have seen this one before. I can't remember exactly if I've posted on my channel, but this is one of my favorite tricks that I have learned, and this definitely goes out to Kevin Booth, I believe is his name, but he's a great magician, and I actually learned this off of his website, so make sure that you check that out. But this is a very interesting idea. You can either use it just as healing a card, or I actually use this when I go to Clovers. This is one of the tricks I do. It's like a moving hole, and I am going to be teaching this one in this video, so stay tuned for that. Now here's the gist of it. Basically, if you grab a little bit of nothing, I can actually just put that right on here, right? And what I get is I get a hole. Now you can see that is a real hole. Okay, there it can actually be a real hole. But the crazy thing is that if I just grab this hole, right, I can actually just bring it down right here where I can pop it in right there. You see that? And I'll do it again. Look, this time if I grab it right here, I can drag it all the way right to here, right? And I can place it there as well. And I'll do it one last time. If I drag it all the way down to here and I just pop it in right there, it'll actually be there too. But the craziest part is that if I ever want to get rid of it, since I don't want holes in my cards, I can just completely take it off and it's completely fixed on both sides. Alrighty, so this one is actually a crazy trick. It is a much harder gimmick to build. It takes more time, but it is worth it. Now here's how it looks. You can take any of these holes. We'll start with this one, for example. And if I just grab it just ever so slightly, I can actually just drag it straight down right there. You might have saw that it almost like it's appeared, you know? I'll do it again, this time with this one. Check this out. Look, watch. If I grab this hole and I just drag it right here, you can actually see that that hole completely materializes there, right? Now I'll do it kind of weird with this third hole. I can actually just give it a little bit of a shake like this, and you can actually see the moment that it completely materializes over there. You see what I mean, right? Now I'll do it again with this fourth one, right? This one I'll grab once again, and if I just pop it in right there, you're actually going to be able to see it. Watch. And that's when it completely changes, right? And so, of course, obviously you can do it backwards too. I can just pop that one right there, right? I'll do it again with this one this time. Look, watch, check this out. I can just pop it right there. I'll roll, right? But I'll do it again, finally, with hole number 4. If I can just bring it down, we get all 4, and that is an amazing trick. Alrighty, y'all, so that was the last of the ones that I've learned. This is actually my creation of one that I decided to try and toy around with. Let me know if you like it. Now, as you can see, I have a joker here. It's normal on both sides, right? But the crazy thing is that if I just take if I just take this card and just give it a flick, ever so slightly, we actually get one hole, right? Now, that's the cool thing, but the cooler thing is that I can actually give it a flick like this, and you can see that that hole will completely jump, right? I'll do it again this time. Look, watch, that one hole, it jumps. It's still there, but you can see we have a little bit of red right here, and that's actually because it's part of a hole. See how that's only half of a hole, right? But the cool thing, once again, look, I just give it another flick, and that's when we have 2 holes. You see that, right? But the craziest part is when I give it a flick like this, and I just give it a shake like this, and that is when we get absolutely no holes in the entire card. And the final thing, if I turn it over and give it a rub like this, we actually get 3 different holes, of course, and that is an awesome trick. I hope. Let me know if you liked it. Alrighty, you all. So today, the ones I'm going to be teaching you was the 2 black art principle ones, and then my personal favorite, which you can learn off of Cavan Booth's channel as well, so make sure that you do check that out. But here, let's start with the easier ones, which is these 2 that use the black art principle. So if you don't know what the black art principle is, basically that just means when you're wearing something black like this, and you have another thing that's black, it doesn't look weird. It will look similar, right? So like if I take this card and it actually has something like a sticker on it, but I hold it against my black shirt, it looks normal, right? It looks as normal as an actual hole, right? Here's an actual hole, and here is none, right? It looks very similar. And so from the untrained eye, for someone that's not looking for it, they're generally not going to notice that. So here is how the first one works. These are both the same general principle of black art, but they use 2 different methods. The first one, and they're all gimmicks, obviously, here's how the first one's working. Now, I have a normal card, okay, but it has a hole cut in it, right? And then I have a duplicate card behind, okay, which is only, it's like this, right? So this half is taped here, and this half is almost like a flap, right? So if I hold it back here, you can't see that flap, and it looks, when I hold it against my shirt, right, like it's black. It looks just normal. This is actually a real hole, but then at any point I can then push that flap up, and from here it looks normal, and if I turn it over at the same time, it still looks like that hole from the black is there, but it's actually this flap card. It's not the actual hole. See what I mean? So what are you gonna have to do? Basically, first of all, you're gonna need 2 duplicate cards. So in this instance, I use the Jack of Spades, 2 of those. It doesn't really matter. Personally, court cards are always good when you're cutting or doing something to a card, because it's there's so much going on that it's a lot harder for them to see the actual incisions. But that is the first thing you're gonna need. So get yourself 2 different cards. Now, what is the first thing you're gonna do? You're gonna take one of your cards, okay? And like I said, I use the Jack of Spades. And you're going to take an X-Acto knife or some scissors. I personally prefer to use an X-Acto knife because I feel like it's easier to get done. And you're just going to cut a hole in the top of the card, right? So generally I kind of cut, I saw where half of his face was, and I started there, and you want to cut as precise of a circle as you can. Now, after you have that card made, what you're going to want to do is take the duplicate card, okay? And you're going to want to find the same spot. It has to be aligned really good, as close as possible, so that it looks like it is the same hole. And you're going to want to take the second card, and you're going to you're going to fold it in half, so that, because it has to be able to fold easily, so you're going to want to crease it, just fold it once back on itself, and that should be enough just to give it a pretty good crease so that it's easy to fold in the future. And what you're going to do is you're going to want to tape the half of the card, just fold it and hold it like this, and you're going to set it on top, and you're going to use either tape or super glue. It's your choice, really, either way. I use super glue because I wanted it to be permanent, and even now it's somewhat coming up, so I'm going to have to redo some more. But you're going to tape this half of the card, right? But you don't want to tape all of it, or you wouldn't be able to get the flaps undone. You just want this half taped, right? And you want to make sure that this can still fold both ways, that the super glue doesn't get on it and stick it, right? And the second thing you're going to want to do is, I just used a piece of paper that I colored black, but a lot of people use stickers. That's a much better option. I just didn't have any at the moment. But is to get a sticker or tape some black cloth or something onto the back of the part that is not super glued. And you want to, this is when it's important, you want to align it perfectly with this. So what I did was, and it's not like you have to, it really, no one will notice, but try and get it similar. And so I kind of just did it around this circle, which obviously is an easy thing to remember. And I put it on there, I taped it up, so that way, because that's also where I did my cut, you can see that the hole was right about that circle, and that's a good thing for you to be able to see so that you can gauge off of that. And after you attach that, really your gimmick is done. Now all you have to do to use it is you're going to start with holding this flat back with your thumb. Either way, you just don't want them to be able to see it. And basically you're going to start like this. And the cool thing too, if you hold it like this, you can actually have a pretty open grip, right? You can't obviously show the back, but you can, just be like, oh, see, I have a card, kind of. It's just really, and see, that's the thing too. Like, if you hold your thumb here, you can show both sides like this, and then you immediately place the flap down and show that you have a hole, right? Because they're not going to notice if you have it covered the whole time, but generally I just kind of show the front. I show that there's a hole, right? And so then you're holding this flat back with your thumb, so it doesn't go up there, right? Now I show it's here, and I say you can see that it's actually a real hole, because I don't want them to think, oh, he has something matching his shirt, right? Maybe I'll even do this, I'll put it next to my face, right? They can see it's obviously a hole. And then you're gonna do the move that's gonna do it. You're holding your flap card, and so the cool thing too, after you do this, let's say you're holding and you let go, it's not gonna shoot up, right? There's no threads, there's no elastics. It's gonna come up a little bit, but it's not gonna come up all the way here, right? And so as long as you don't tilt it downward where they're gonna see it, you just keep it kind of straight towards them, and tilt it up a little bit even, you'll be pretty good on angle wise. And so all you're gonna be doing, and here's the back view, is you're going to be taking your thumb of your right hand, or left hand if you're left-handed, and you're going to be doing this action. I'm covering the hole at the same time that I use this thumb to push this up, and then I turn the whole thing over, right? So let me go through that slowly. This is the exposed view. I'm covering, which I won't cover so you guys can see, covering while I push this flap card up, and I turn the whole thing over, right? But the crazy thing is that if you do it fast, right, I'm like, okay, here you go, right? And you can see that it literally looks like I just took that card and I just pushed it over, right? And I'm doing it slowly, obviously. Generally I would cover it more like this, and it's just so clean because it looks like you really did just turn that over. But the only difference is that I put another flap overwards. They don't know that, and then you can show that that is now a sticker. You can kind of show both sides, and really a great trick. I love how clean you are, because like the whole time they can't really catch anything. You can fairly show this card, right? And then immediately afterward you can show both sides. I mean, that's awesome. Just make sure you don't let go of that flap or they will see that, but just hold it, you can show it, and then just put it away. So that is the first one. Now the second one is a much more interesting method. What I have, it's simpler, but it's really interesting. I have two different cards. They don't have to be the same, and this is actually a deck that I got for free. It's like some Christmas deck that I ordered some tricks during December from Penguin Magic, and they sent me this deck. So but I took two different cards, and it's important though, you do want to make sure that they have the same back design. That's the only thing really that that you have to care about, but generally it is pretty easy to do this trick. And so what did I do? I took 2 cards, okay? So for the first one, just like with the other one, I wanted to, you don't need to fold it, they don't really need to be folded, but what I did was I just cut a hole inside the first one, right? So you can see that is a real hole, and so that was the first thing that I did with that card. As for the other card, you're just going to be taping a, just like I did with this one was also black paper I just taped across. This one I taped because I didn't want it to do what this one did, where it started coming off and stuff. I didn't like that, so I did a little bit differently. And so now, once you're done with that, basically what you have a card with a hole in it, and then you have a card with some sort of black fabric or a sticker or something on it, right? Now, what are you gonna do? You're going to take your card with the hole, okay, and you're gonna set that on whatever thing you're gonna be taping it on. And then you want your other card face down. So this one's face up, the card with the hole, right? This actually has the hole in it. And this one is obviously the fake one. It has no hole in it. And they're going to be facing opposite directions. And you're going to want to align them as close as possible. Now, the next thing you're going to be doing is taping them, okay? So you can see if I bring this in, let me try and get a view. You can actually see that tape all the way across, right? So that's literally all I did. I took some tape and I taped it on both sides, you know, just like that. And so, I'm sorry, not on both sides, just one of the sides, because the other side is where you're going to be folding. And after you do that, I mean, literally, the gimmick is made. Now, here's how it works. You're going to start with the whole card. The back of it is going to be facing you. And so, kind of like the other one, kind of like how we had the flap, we had it behind where we were holding it with our fingers, kind of. This one, it's more limited. You can't just hold it completely back like that one, but you are going to have to take your fingers and hold it in this position where they're covering. And so generally what I'll do is I will hold them like an L, and I'll take my middle finger and I'll just use my middle finger to grasp this part right here. Sometimes I'll put my thumb over here too. And so generally that just means just as long as they can't see that thing hanging is the most important, right? So I'm holding it like this. I show the hole. I'm showing there's behind it. All I have to do is take my thumb and just push it up and turn it over. Kind of like the move in the last one, right? So I'm here, I'm showing the hole, and then I instantly push it up and turn it over, and it's changed, right? You could even just do it fast like that, right? And the cool thing too, like, you could even do it more slow, just like, no, not that slow, but be like, okay, see the hole, and then you instantly change. And so the cool thing too, you're like, oh, well, what if they see the white? It actually adds to the effect because it makes it look like they're actually watching, that they're actually watching the moment that it changes, that it heals, whatever you want to call it, right? They're like, oh my gosh, I saw it turn white before I even showed it to you, right? And so we're literally, that's it, right? So just to gauge on, once again, just to remind you, you have the face up card with the hole, face down one with the whatever black fabric or whatever you have taped on it around the same area in the middle. You're going to have them next to each other, and you're just going to tape along one of the sides, taping them together. And then, of course, the way that you do it, you're going to be holding that whole card where the back is faced towards you, using your middle finger to not allow them to see this hanging, and you're just going to use your thumb to push that up and turn over. And once again, that will give you the amazing distraction, and then you can, of course, show that that is no longer a hole, that is fixed. So that is the second one. Now the last one, this is actually one that I told you was on Cavan Booth. I'm so sorry if I'm saying that wrong, but it was on his YouTube channel. Link is going to be in the description, so make sure that you do check it out because he's an awesome YouTuber. But this is how it works. This was the one where you're making, you know, holes appear, right? You're making them teleport down to like here, for example, right? And then you can even just take that hole and just pull it off. You see what I mean? Now this was actually a really fun one to make. It's so simple. It'll take you like 2 minutes. All you're gonna need is a card and a hole puncher. That's literally it. You don't need anything else. Here's what you're doing. let me get something to show you, because the basics behind it, okay, I'll just grab a random scrap from my gimmick drawer, okay? The basics behind it is that when you punch a hole, right, you take a card, you can punch a hole in it completely through, right? Now that, I don't even know what that's at. That is a hole that's completely through it. But here's the basics of how it works. You're going to be punching a hole, but not all the way through. So see, like I just did it. If I don't give it a lot of pressure, you can see it doesn't go all the way through, right? So like if I show you like this, and I'll really try and get a view on this, you can see that it's not all the way through, right? This hole right here only got punched that much. The rest of it is still attached. And so what that means is that if you bend it back and you're holding it like this, it looks like a hole. But if you use your thumb to just press that a tiny bit into the hole, it will actually latch onto it, and now it looks like that hole is gone, right? I don't know if you understand what I'm saying, but I will show you. So that is the basics. It doesn't matter how many holes you want to do. I have one card that only has one hole, and then I have this one that has 4 different holes. Basically, you're going to be taking your hole puncher, and you're just going to be you're not going to be like punching it all the way through. You just do enough until you hear it puncture, and you're going to immediately let go, because you don't want to press all the way through or you'll actually get a hole. So see, like even with these, this is what I have. I have a hole like this, okay? And it's still connected. It looks like a hole from this direction because it's mostly cut, but it still is connected with this part, right? You can see I can flick it back and forth. And what that means is that if I take that hole and I just push it down, you can see it'll latch onto this other end, and I'll no longer look like I have a hole, right? So that's what you're going to be doing. It doesn't matter where you do it. I chose to do 2 across from each other, kind of in the middle. I did 1 here, and then I also had, where's the 4th one at? 1, 2, 3, pretty sure I had 4, didn't I? Maybe I only had... Oh, I guess I only had 3. But yeah, so you can do as many as you want. I just did 3, it looks like. But yeah, you're just going to be doing that. So you're going to be puncturing some, but not all the way. Okay, so now let's get into, after you've built it, you've added however many holes you want, how do you do the trick? So basically, I started off and I'm holding it the face up is towards me, so they're looking at the blue or the red or whatever backing you have, right? I tell them, okay, if I grab nothing and I can just pop it onto the card, and what I'm doing is I'm going to my hole, and I'm using, when I go to slide on, I'm using my first finger to push just a tiny, and I'm using my thumb to hold, to push a tiny bit so that it pops that hole up. And then I'm using my thumb to pull that hole back and press down somewhat hard so that it won't just come back, right? Because if I'm just like, oh, okay, and then I just let go, it's going to start coming back, right? So that's what I do, right? So I say, okay, if you grab nothing, I go to slide, I use my first finger to push as I'm using my thumb to hold the backing, and then I use my thumb to just pull that piece down and press hard so that it won't come back up. I show that the hole is there. Then I go to pretend to grab it, and all I'm doing is just pushing that hole back over and pressing firm enough that it will latch. But I'm doing that under the cover of these hands, and then I'm pretending that I'm dragging, but really I'm just dragging over to where my next hole is. Once again, using my first finger to shove and my thumb to pull back, and I show it's gone over there. I do it again. I press with my thumb, which latches it, locks it in, right? And sometimes you'll have to do more than once. That's okay. It just looks like you're trying really hard. And then I pull it over to my next spot, use my first finger to push out, my thumb to pull down, and show it's there, right? And of course, for you that made multiple holes, you can just keep doing this. But generally, I'll do once, twice, or like only about 3 times, and then I'll say, but of course, I can't have holes in all my cards or they wouldn't work, so I can actually just grab that last one. Once again, pushing with my thumb, it latches, and at this point, they think I have the hole, but I don't. I actually have nothing, but I can just pretend that I'm dragging it off and that it's completely gone. right? So that is the basics behind it. You're just using your first finger and thumb to push it out, and then using that little bit of the stuff that's attached to latch onto it. So that is going to be the whole tricks for today, and make sure to comment down below which ones you liked and which ones you'd like me to teach out of the ones that I showed you the performance of that I didn't teach today, and I will try my very best to teach it another time in another video. Alrighty, you all, so that is going to be it for today. Thank you so much for watching, and once again, really, I do want to hear your guys' feedback on it, so let me know if you liked this video or not, and I will be posting, hopefully, more of these type of, like, gimmick builds, because generally, I enjoy making them, I enjoy teaching others, so I am going to be trying to make more of those, so make sure that you let me know if you liked them, and once again, if you made it this far into the video, make sure that you hit like and smash subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video. I love you all. Have a great day. Peace.